Is Shazam a Marvel movie in disguise? So basically, Marvel movies have this really comedic element to them. This feels very different from every other DC Extended Universe movie so far. So, what do you guys think?
Okay.
Oh, you want to go first?
I'll let you talk. I'll let you
Okay,
talk.
let me talk. All right, so the Shazam boy right here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not think it's a Marvel movie in disguise, and here's the reason why. Number one, most of these comedy Marvel movies don't have drama. Like drama doesn't really exist, and this movie actually has heartwarming, dark drama. Like literally
Exactly.
dark, like
Yeah.
moments where you're just like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how you
yeah.
know it's a DC movie. It actually has tragedy. So, so that's for starters why I don't believe that. And then another thing, the type of humor. I felt like most of the Marvel movies, it's mainly like witty banter. It's mainly like clever remarks, clever things. Iron Man says you look like Squidward. Or maybe there are small little things like inside the first Doctor Who movie, the guys listening to the Beyonce film or whatever. But the point is,
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Thank you. Thank you. The point is, there's a lot of the emphasis on the comedy here. I mean, there is emphasis on the comedy, but just like with Wonder Woman, it kind of comes off like more of a fish out of water or organic comedy. It's kind of like, well, if a child was in an adult body, what would he do? He wouldn't just be like, oh, I got to be responsible. It makes sense why he's being irresponsible, you know? So there's a lot of like, it kind of makes the comedy in itself is just sort of like, it comes more authentic here. And that's where I would have to say. Another thing with the comedy too, it's more, I like to say it's more implicit. Like a lot of it's like implied humor. Like when they go to the strip club, we don't see what happens at the strip club, but we know because of the strip club, they're seeing something. So they play a lot of that implied humor. Or even the part with the Santa Claus guy and he's like cursing, right? Like we know what he's saying, but it's implied. So I think the humor is also different. And that's why I can't say it's a Marvel movie in disguise.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think I agree a lot with what you're saying because from my perspective, it does. So the Marvel movies, they have this whole element where they tend to, and it kind of annoys me a lot when they do it too much, where they will undercut the seriousness of whatever's going on with humor. Mm-hmm. And this movie Shazam, it doesn't really do that. Like they have humor, but the humor is never undercutting like serious drama.
Yeah.
It never gets in the way of like, so for example, when I saw Asgard get destroyed, they literally made a joke and I was laughing while Asgard was getting destroyed. Like that's supposed to be a tragic moment and I'm in the theater laughing because they made a funny joke. But in Shazam, like he's talking to his mom, who he hasn't seen for years since he was 3 years old, and I'm like feeling the emotion and like the anger and the confusion that this character Billy Batson is going through in just this small moment. And that's like not as intense or shouldn't be as intense as the destruction of an entire planet, but I felt more in just that small moment than in Thor Ragnarok, just because they didn't choose that moment to add in a joke or to undercut the seriousness. Like they let the serious drama breathe for a second. Like they let it sit with the audience and they let the audience feel what was going on, as opposed to what Marvel seems to have the bad habit of doing sometimes, where they will have these moments that are meant to be serious or dramatic, but it's undercut by humor. And so like I didn't feel as like bad when Odin died.
Who's Odin?
Like Odin exactly. Odin has been in like how many of these movies? He's been in all of the movies since Thor 1. And he died and it was just like, okay, I guess we're just going on with the rest of the movie. Whereas in this first Shazam movie, like we see his mom and we find out what happened to him and we're feeling all of those emotions in just this little time. And it's a testament to like that the fact that like the DC movies have come up from this whole serious and dark theme. And there was a time where They probably went too deep into that, where they went too dark, and it was kind of like just too much at one time. But now they're kind of like, okay, let's add in some humor here and let's add in some comedy there and see what happens. But they're still holding on to like the seriousness, and so they can do that well. And now they're adding in the humor. I think it's doing a very good job to make the whole movie well rounded, which is why I like what Shazam did better than a lot of what the Marvel movies are doing right now.
Well said.